Hey everyone, what is going on? So this is probably going to be the most difficult video that I have ever created. In fact, it is going to be the most difficult video that I ever created. So, you guys know how in Orlando, the mega tournament, I can't even speak, I'm so nervous, in the mega tournament where I had played CCO, I had beat him the first two games, and then I lost the third game. And then he started accusing me of hearing, I guess in the first game, hearing the commentators because the noise canceling earphones went out for a little bit. Well, I denied it at the time, but it actually is true. I did hear. It wasn't John. I heard the other commentator. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I think his name is AJ. I only heard one thing. I heard him say that an ice punch was coming towards my shift tree. That's how I knew not to shield the ice punch. Now, I don't know if I would have shielded or not if I didn't hear that, but I did hear it, and I still thought I was going to lose that game, so I went on with it. But I actually ended up winning that one, but I knew that wasn't fair. Like, in my mind, I knew that was not a fair win. I knew that he deserved a rematch, which is ultimately why I ended up giving him that extra rematch off stream. That's why I gave him that rematch, because I knew that he deserved it. It's not because I'm a pushover, it's because I'm a cheater, or at least I felt like I was a cheater, or at the very least taking advantage of a system that it may not have been my fault that the noise canceling earphones went out, but I should have said something earlier. But at the end, I still thought he was going to win that game. But after I won the game, I should have said, hey, I heard something. But I was embarrassed. I was scared. I've never played on stream before, so I didn't even know you were really supposed to hear white noise. I didn't really understand it. Some of those was some of the excuses that I was saying to myself as I played through Game 2 and Game 3. Now, the earphones did connect after Game 1 had just ended, so Game 2 and Game 3 were legitimate, but that's why I offered him the rematch, because he totally deserved it, and he deserves that win. So he did not cheat. He is not a bad player or bad sportsmanship. I am, and I'm afraid to admit it, because I don't want to lose people like you that watch the videos. The goal of my channel has always been to be a positive role model to whether it be young children or even older people that love to play PvP. I always wanted to be a positive role model, and I didn't feel like I was doing that. That's why I felt terrible in Game 2 and Game 3. That's why I decided to give him the rematch. I was afraid to admit it at the time. The judge, I didn't want to admit it to the judge. I didn't want to admit it to my friends. But ultimately, I knew I had to. It's been eating away at me. I haven't been able to sleep. At the end of the day, he did win, so I guess I technically made things right at that time. But I've had comments saying, dude, if it was a legitimate game, why in the world would you give him a rematch? It makes no sense. You shouldn't give him a rematch. And you guys are right. If I had won fair and square, I wouldn't have given him the rematch. Now, I guess if I'm trying to defend myself, I could have just taken the win and not said anything, but I'm not that type of person. I know that I'm a good person deep down, so I just know I made a terrible mistake, and honestly, I'm afraid that Soph might ban me for this, but I know I have to come out because I don't want CCO's name to be dragged in the mud, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So I had to come out and tell you guys. I had thought about it this week. I had thought about it long and hard. Some days I decided not to do it. Some days I decided to do it. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, I decided to come out and tell you, and I am so sorry if I let any of you down, especially CCO. He is a legitimate player. At least our games were legitimate. And again, I do apologize deeply towards him and towards the community in general. Again, I'm afraid, I hope Sylph doesn't ban me, but I know it's the right thing to do to come out. Now, some of you might not consider me a cheater because it wasn't my fault that the headphones went out, right? The white noise machine went out, or came unplugged. It was, I guess, their fault in a way. But I should have spoke up and I should have said anything. So I'm taking full responsibility. I spoke to a friend of mine, not a PvP related. He doesn't even play Pokemon Go, and he's like, dude, don't come out, don't say anything. It's gonna look bad for you, and it might. You know what? It probably will. But I had to come out and I had to tell you guys. So I do apologize. I actually felt so bad that I was thinking of retiring my PvP Battler's license, so to speak, but I don't think that I'm going to do that. I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm still going to continue with the YouTube content because I know I do have a lot to offer, and I know a lot of people do like my content. I know I made a terrible, terrible mistake. I'm scared to death of what's going to happen after this video. I was going to let things die down and just focus on Rose. And I'm going to still continue with Rose videos on a daily basis, but I did want to come out and tell you guys, don't hate on my opponent. It's not his fault. And I sincerely do apologize to him as well as to the community. So I think that's basically it. I don't know what else I have to say, but yeah, basically the gist of it is I heard the commentator, I think his name is AJ, I heard him say that there was an ice punch coming towards Shift Tree. So that's how I knew not to shield. Would I have shielded if I didn't hear that, if the noise machines were working? I don't know. I don't know if I would have shielded or not. But regardless, I did hear it, so it was unfair. That's why I ultimately gave him a rematch. It wasn't because I was a pushover or anything. It was because I wanted to make things right, and I knew it was not a fair game. So again, I don't want any sympathy. I don't know how this video is going to turn out. I know it's probably going to look so bad for me, and that's okay. If I'm going to receive backlash from the community, I rightfully deserve it. So, but yeah, as I said, I'm still going to continue with videos on a daily basis. I don't think I'm going to retire YouTube. I made a mistake. I made a terrible mistake. I should have said something immediately, but I didn't. It was a mistake. What can I say? I wanted to win, right? I mean, I was 3-0. I wanted that 4-0 win. I ultimately didn't want it. I thought about it during games 2 and games 3, and I decided I wanted the win, but I didn't want it in a fair. If I had an unfair advantage, right? So, my friends had told me, as I said, unrelated to PvP, they're not Pokemon Go players. They told me, well, you did the right thing in the end, and I guess that's true, but it still wasn't okay because it still wasn't okay. It still wasn't okay, and yeah, CCO does not. He deserves second place. He got second place. He deserves it, and I'm very happy for him. And yeah, so. Believe me, it feels terrible, and I will never ever do anything like that again. I'll always be upfront, and in the past, I always have been upfront. When I saw even in regionals, I had seen leads from my opponent before the games crashed, and my opponent had asked me if I saw the lead, and I said, yeah, I saw you had so-and-so, but I have this. Yours has an advantage over mine. We should still probably go with the same lead because you have an advantage. I've always been upfront, and I've always been honest with my opponent. I've never done anything like this, but I don't know. I think part of it was I was scared to come out and tell the truth. I was scared of the backlash from the community. I should have said something right away. We probably would have rematched if I had said something after game 1. Yeah, absolutely should have. So I think that one of the reasons why I am coming out is because I don't want people to think badly of CCO. I don't want them to think that he's a bad sportsmanship player because he did rightfully win that game or those games. He called me out on it. I denied it at the time because, as I said, I was scared. I didn't want to admit it. But at the end of the day, that's why I gave him the rematch. So I apologize again to CCO, to the community, to Sylph. And I hope you guys can forgive me and we can move on from this. And I'm shaking as I'm recording this because I'm really nervous. But I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Tomorrow we'll continue with Rose battle videos, and I hope you guys still continue to watch. And you can expect better from me in the future. I promise you that. So that will conclude this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.